Dan Larson here at the photo booth with the top 10 figures of 2023 so far, part 1. This is a quarterly segment we do at the end of March, June, and September, building up to the final top 10 of the year at the end of the year. Look for that sometime early January 2024. Quick refresher on the rules to make that make up my top 10 here. These are all self-imposed rules. Number 1, figure had to be released in 2023. However, there are almost always figures that come out so late in the previous year that they can't be considered for the best of that year, so they get rolled over to the next year, although I don't think any of the figures here fall into that category. 2, the figure had to be purchased in 2023. That said, there are things that have been released that I haven't purchased yet, but may purchase before the year is over, so they are technically still in the running for the final top 10 at the end of December. Number 3, if I didn't purchase it, then obviously it is automatically disqualified for consideration. I'm never going to count something that I didn't myself purchase. Number 4, I do occasionally get review samples sent to me. I only count the ones that I would have purchased or have already purchased. For example, Boss Fight sent me their skeletons, review samples of those skeletons that I had already pre-ordered. Same with the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom figures from Spiro Toys. I backed that Kickstarter when it came out. And I'm already buying a bunch of figures, so I appreciate that they sent me some review samples, but I was getting them anyway. And then lastly, I added a new wrinkle last year. If a figure gets eliminated, it stays eliminated until the final top 10 of the year to show that there are some long-term stakes to getting eliminated at any other point during the year. But there's also second chances. We're not totally ruthless here. This is everything in the booth here is everything that meets those eligibility requirements that I just went through. I'm going to just start taking figures out until there are only 10 left, and then I'll put them in order from 10 to 1. And what I'm going to start with, actually, you can see that there are some multiples here from different lines. For example, the Fresh Monkey Fiction, Eagle Force, The Hidden figures here. Obviously, any astute observer would notice that those are Micronauts or Microman homage figures. Translucent, little translucent Super Sentai team here. They each got a little sword. They got a little gun. Multiple hands, great articulation, 4-inch scale figures. But they are all basically the same thing, just different colors. So it's like, how do you rank the green one over the blue one? Does the pink one rank higher than Gundam, and then Gundam ranks higher than the green one? I'm not getting into all that. Basically, every single one of these 5 figures qualifies for the exact same reason. So to make this easier in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out 4 of them, and 1 of them will represent the entire team. So what I'm going to do is pull these 4 guys here. I believe the orange one there on the end over there, I believe that was the first one that was released. And then the other 4 came after that. I don't know if they're doing any more colors. Fresh Monkey Fiction, if you are watching now, more colors is fine with me. I wouldn't mind black, translucent black, or like a smoky gray. I wouldn't mind more of like, well, I don't know, what else do we need? Like just a clear, straight clear one, lighter blue. Anywhere you want to go. It's sparkly, glittery, kind of space sort of take on that. I'm down for any of them there. Now, same thing. Boss Fights skeletons. There are 4 here in this Epic Hacks Wave 1 skeletons. Wave 2 should be out later this year, so that's going to be even more of a challenge, but I may cheat then too. There are 4 skeletons: Pirate, Gladiator, Grim Reaper, and then back there the Barbarian. Once again, they would all qualify for the exact same reason, so I'm going to pull out 3 of them and just leave 1 to represent the entire crew. So Gladiator's going to come out, Grim Reaper's going to come out, and we'll leave Barbarian over there since he's the furthest away from me, and I don't know if I can quite reach him from this angle. We're going to pull those 3, and we're going to make this even easier for me. We've got 3 Animal Warriors of the Kingdom figures here. These 2, by the way, if you're not familiar, they are wearing custom capes. They're wearing capes that were originally designed for Black Series Mandalorian figures that I stole from my Black Series Mandalorian figures and threw on them because they look so good in capes. I'm going to leave Atreyu, and we're going to pull out these 2 guys here. What does that leave us with? Let's address the Sky Striker in the room too. In the past, I don't really collect a lot of vehicles, so it hasn't been an issue to say, does a vehicle count as an action figure? Ultimately, who cares? It's my list. I'm making this. I can do whatever I want with it. But, you know, it is also fun for me to torture myself with trying to make up rules and then analyze how things apply to those stupid rules that I self-imposed. So this is a challenge this year as to whether or not the Sky Striker should actually be included, and I'll deal with that at the end of the year. It does come with 6 action figures, some of which I've actually already sold off because I didn't really want them in the first place, but I've definitely got Ace and Wayne in the cockpit there. Wayne is actually wearing, this is all information that you don't really need for the purpose of this, but Wayne Ruthell is actually wearing Ripcord's oxygen mask, because I thought it was weird that Wayne didn't get one. But so yeah, I could rank those figures individually. I'm not counting. I don't have Scarlet and Ripcord here to be a part of this countdown. I am not counting Ace and Wayne as individual figures. As far as I'm concerned, just like these other multi-eliminations that I just went through, or multi-inclusions, whatever you want to call it, that's how I'm treating it. Sets and teams and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and one other note there. Dubon and Boreas from Four Horsemen's Mythic Legions here, not intended to be a set. As far as I understand it, they were not designed to be a pair to go together. They were just sort of offered in the same wave. But they look so good together. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, they shipped together. They were the 2 that I ordered direct from Store Horsemen when they put that wave, All-Stars Wave 5 up for pre-order. I ordered those 2 direct, and then any of the other figures from that wave that I wanted, I ordered through Big Bad Toy Store, just so I didn't have to give Four Horsemen all my money up front. So as far as I'm concerned, those 2 are a set, and they always will be a set. So, all that said, where does that leave us for number of pieces in the booth here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is easy. This is too easy. And then, you know, beyond that, there are definitely some pieces that I know they're just not going to be in my top 10. So Revelations, I think this is Revelations, right? Revelations Roboto. It's either Masterverse or Revelations. I think it's Revelations. Nice figure. I'm glad I got it, but it's just not strong enough to be in the top 10. I don't hate the head. I do like the design. There's some things I would change about it. I appreciate that it does look as much like the animated series version of the character as it does. I do like the clear chest here. Mine's got a little bit of weird glue on the inside or something there, but I don't have a problem with that either. My main complaint with this is, holy cow, is it hard to swap out his arm. Like, I almost have to heat it up, soften it up every time I actually want to change out his arm. But overall, still a cool figure. I hear the jokes about him looking like Gizmo Duck. I can't deny that he does have a Gizmo Duck-ish kind of appearance. But I still just, it's a very cool modern version of Roboto that I dig. But I don't top 10 dig it. So he's out. Beyond that, who else can we quickly eliminate here? This Robot Spirits Gundam, Strike Gundam, love it. I do have they released 2 accessory packs for this. The Ale Strike wings and jetpack, I do already have that. And then I just forgot the name of it, the gun system, that'll be out later this year. So I'm not counting those accessories as part of this. I just don't have them on. They're in a box at home. I love this figure. I'm slowly replacing, as I'm sure a lot of Gundam collectors have, I'm slowly replacing all my old MSIA figures with their robot spirits and then cycling the MSIA out of my collection. So happy to finally have this Strike Gundam on hand. But that's not a top 10 piece for me either. Signal Man here, or Blue Centurion, whatever you want to call him. I wasn't even going to get this figure until D Amazing started posting pictures on Twitter. And then I went and watched D Amazing's video. And of course, this is not the first time he's hooked me on a figure. In fact, last year, Shadow Ranger, I just forgot what his name, VXV, what was it? VRV Trooper? No, not VRV Trooper. Whatever he's called in the Japanese series. That was another one where I wasn't planning on getting it, and then I watched D Amazing's video, and he put it in all kinds of cool poses and made it look really awesome. And those 2 guys, him and this one together, Phantom Ranger and Signal, Blue Centurion, I'm getting the Japanese and American names mixed up. They look great together. This guy comes with a ton of cool stuff. And on top of that, for whatever reason, this guy got caught in that weird timing situation where my targets around here didn't get it in, it was late, and then as soon as it showed up, for some reason they went ahead and processed all the markdowns. So I got this guy for 10 bucks. But as much as I like it, I don't like it as much as the other stuff that's in the booth here. So he's out. And then this Redemption skeleton, this is a weird year where we had so many, there's so many skeletons out this year already, and then there's still so more to come. You've got your boss fight skeletons, you've got your Redemption skeletons, and I don't know if that's the actual name of the company. There's a name on the box, there's another name on the box, who knows, but there's actually another set of third-party, independent, whatever you want to call it, pretty expensive skeletons, and I didn't get one of those yet, and off the top of my head I can't even remember what it's called, so look for that later this year. I like this, it's fun, it's chunky, it works well with Mythic Legions figures. This wouldn't work well with Black Series or Marvel Legends or anything like that, but it is a fun figure. It comes with an alternate jack-o'-lantern head. I've talked about this in previous booth videos, but again, not strong enough to make the top 10 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That gets us down to our 10. So all we have to do now is put them in order, and anybody who knows me, and I hate to have to spoil this right out of the gate, but it's not a spoiler to anybody who has known or watched me for any amount of time, who watched our actual 4 minutes or less video. The figure review that brought 4 minutes or less is back to our production. Oop. Warduke's the obvious number one here. He's number one. So this is really just a battle for 10 through 2 for the rest of these guys. So at number 10, I think I'm going to go, let me move around here. I think NECA Dracula is going at 10. I like the Universal monsters. These are great figures. I never thought that I would actually have 2 full sets of Universal monsters between these NECA versions, and then there's also the Jada Toys versions, which they have their pros and cons. Much better likenesses on the NECA versions. They're bigger. The paint applications, like I said, the likenesses are absolutely gorgeous. This cape, it's luxurious. It drapes so nicely. Would it be nicer if it was wired? I don't think so. I think the way it is, the way it's made, it just hangs so well. But I do prefer the posability on the other ones, even though they're a little bit smaller. And I would say the Jada Toys ones are a little bit more like cartoony too, sort of very expressive. But Drac here is going to be number 10. Number 9, I think we're going to go Wicket with number 9. I probably would have bought him, but I really bought him because Mrs. Toy Galaxy was really excited about him. I got nothing against Ewoks. I wish they would have released, I wish Hasbro would have put Ewoks out sooner and more of them. But, you know, it's not the kind of thing where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited, finally Ewoks, whereas that's how my wife is. So I think he's the 9 spot. At the 8 spot, I think we're going to go Alf. Oh, shoot. It's either Alf or the skeleton. I'm going to go Alf at 8. Awesome, expressive, fantastic likeness. I had posted some pictures on Instagram saying that my only real disappointment with him was that I didn't think you could close his mouth all the way. He's got this fantastic jaw articulation. And then Thomas Gwynn, the actual sculptor who works for NECA, happened to comment on the post and said, no, trust me, you can get that mouth shut. You know, we gave it the engineering and the sculpting to make it work. And if you look inside his mouth, you can see that there is a gap, you know, for his teeth to sit into the top and the bottom there, and that they are spaced out correctly. And, you know, you just got to work it a little bit and get that jaw and the angle just right, and you can absolutely close that mouth all the way. And it's just a different kind of expressiveness. I think he would rank higher if I didn't have to see him from the waist down, because it's just creepy. You know, on the show, yeah, every once in a while on the show, you would see him from the waist down. You see his big clompy feet, but it still creeps me out. Same thing with the Muppets. It's like, I just don't want to see him from the waist down. So a lot of great accessories with that too. Love the sunglasses, love the alternate hands, love the shirt that he comes with, the button-up shirt. But for the most part, he's just been standing on my desk next to Captain Deadstar from Super 7's The Worst Ultimates, just hanging out, giving him directions around space, trying to steer him away from Melmac, I guess. At number 10, 9, 8, 7. I think we're going boss fight skeletons. If this hidden figure will stand up, we'll get him in a minute. Move you over here. Boss fight barbarian's going to come up here. My only issue with the boss fight skeletons here is just for my own personal preferences. I would have liked them all molded in the bone color. You know, you got on the Grim Reaper here, I mean, you know, this shock, this pop of color, and it makes for a great character, and it looks fantastic, and like I said, the color just pops on the shelf. But, you know, when it comes to skeletons, I would really rather just have them all in, you know, bone color as opposed to spooky green or purple or anything like that. So that is barely even a complaint. It's barely even enough to mention it. But, you know, when you're doing rankings like this, you got to find something to put one spot ahead of the other. So very much looking forward to Wave 2. I think they'll be out later this year. You got 2 warriors. There's like a Roman legionnaire and a Spartan, I believe. And then you've also got a luchador and a cowboy, Old West cowboy thing. And all 4 of them look fantastic. And you can take all this gear off if you just want straight up regular skeletons to fight Warduke or to hang out with Dracula or whatever. They look great. So that's 7. 6 is going to be... Oh, one's already in place. 6, I think we're going indie at 6. He is a really, really great figure. Looks fantastic. I think probably the best Harrison Ford likeness that Hasbro has put out thus far. Only issues I had with him. One, I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan in the world. If this figure never got made, I wouldn't have missed it or anything. I didn't bother getting any previous Indiana Jones figures that were made. So it's not like this was something I was really begging for and hoping for, but I think they really did a bang up job on this. My only complaints with this are, one, I would like a removable hat. I think I get why they did that. You know, it looks nice. It sits well. You're not going to lose it. I'm hoping that, you know, later heads will be interchangeable. So if you want to have him hat off, that's fine. But my main complaint really is this attachment for the whip. You've got this very, very soft plastic belt and the very, very soft plastic loop that is supposed to plug into the very, very soft plastic hole there. And the hole is, I'm going to use the words. The hole is stretched out and the peg isn't hard enough or stiff enough to stay in that stretched out hole. And so what I end up having to do, some people have recommended, you know, sort of taking that band around the other way and sticking it back up into the belt. What I've found is just to turn his waist just a smidge so that the coat flap is keeping that the latch for the whip closed enough so that it can just hang at his belt. Because I really do like the way it hangs on the belt. You've got the satchel, the whip. This is kind of bulky. I don't feel like it needed to be that bulky. But for me, that whip hanging at his belt really, really completes the look. Also, I would have liked... and every Harrison Ford figure should come with the Harrison Ford point. They should always come with point hands for Harrison Ford figures. So that's again, barely a complaint, but I wouldn't have minded if that was the case. So 5 is going to be, I think we're going to go, this is tough because you've got, you know, Hasbro Sky Striker, and then you've got upcoming indie Spiro Toys, indie Eagle, Fresh Monkey Fiction, and then pretty well established, but still indie Mythic Legions, 4 Horsemen's Mythic Legions over there. So it's tough. I don't want to make these guys fight. I love them all. I don't want them to have to be at each other's throats. But I think we're going to go Dubon and Boreas at 4. Let's set him back here. Dubon here. Again, just absolutely gorgeous figures. They're so gorgeous. They're so fantastic. This wired cape on him is just sick and stupid. It's amazing. Alternate hands. I don't even mind the reuse of parts. That's a part of action figures going back to the very beginning. So I don't have a problem with that, especially when they do so much to give them unique character for each figure that they put out. And again, this horse, it's that too. That's a bunch of reuse, but it's gorgeous and has so much character. that I don't have a problem with it. My only complaints with Dubon here is I do wish he had an unhooded head. This head doesn't come off. You can't flip it back. I wish he had an unhooded head. Other than that, I don't really have any complaints with it. His bird, which I don't have here, would have liked if his bird too had a wings down or alternate wings version that you could have on his arm. But ultimately, it's still gorgeous. It's still great. And I just have no complaints. At number 3, we're going to go the hidden. These figures are just, man, they just hit right for me. Technically, this is life-size. You know, if you want to go by the old Microman mythology, this is a life-size figure. You know, they were little miniature micro guys that, you know, your Soundwave, your Megatron, all of those Transformers that were objects, you know, household objects. Even the cars, technically, a lot of those came from, that's what they were supposed to be. They were supposed to represent real life-size things that, you know, turned into robots. And so Megatron's blaster, his arm cannon thing, actually has a version. If you take a look at my Instagram, I put it together when I posted pictures of this figure originally. They have modes that interact with the original Microman or Micronauts sized figures that are, you know, this size, that it turns into vehicles for them or weapons for them, that kind of stuff. So I love this, and the multicolors, man, that just hits me. That just hits me right in the kinds of things I love about action figures. Translucent, you know, 5 different colors, so they're like a little Super Sentai, Power Rangers type team. Even at 4-inch scale, they come with, you know, 3 or 4 sets of hands, gun and sword that you can put into their sheaths. Fantastic articulation. I love those figures so much. Lots of good stuff still coming from Fresh Monkey Fiction and their Action Force. So at number 3, we're going to go with Spiro Toys, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Again, this is a custom cape. This did not come with this cape on here. This was a Mandalorian cape that I threw on him just because it looks fantastic. It takes a regal looking figure and makes him look even more regal. And the colors match pretty good too. I don't have his shield here. He's got a big, awesome cat, roaring cat logo on his shield. And all of these figures have been fantastic. Same with this. Hopefully, I believe Wave 2 is due out this year. Really looking forward to some of the other animals that are going to get included as they go. The bunnies and things like that. It really harkens back to, you know, Battle Beasts for me, and has a lot of that same sort of influence. And they're just good, fun, sturdy, smooth action figures, interchangeable hands, and beautiful paint jobs, and they're just fantastic. And I'm so excited to see more and more companies just being able to put out just fantastic work like that. All that leaves is number 2. And I'm just going to kind of leave this back here, hovering in the background. I wrote about this. I wrote about it for issue 4 of Toy Collector Magazine. You can check out my whole review there. It is exclusive to Toy Collector Magazine, and the importance of that airplane, and specifically, you know, VF41 logos, the treatment for that airplane, and why that's such a big deal, and just why that whole, did I call it a Kickstarter? Why that whole HasLab really meant a lot to me, and why I'm so glad it happened. Definitely check out Toy Collector Magazine to read that. But I'm going to go number 2 there. Well, I'll figure out by the end of the year if that actually qualifies for me for my top 10. Usually it's action figures because I just don't buy a lot of vehicles, but we'll see. And then obviously all that leaves is Warduke at number 1, and that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who saw my anticipation for that figure. Just how excited I was and how much I couldn't wait for it. It's not perfect. This chain here on his little knife sheath on the side, I have broken that off probably 5 or 6 times now and had to reconnect it. That is very frustrating. And then I really hate that you can't get his arms to hang more naturally at his side. I did acquire a second one, so I'll probably be making some alterations to that to try to fix those 2 very minor issues for me, because otherwise that thing is perfect. And Strongheart, I just pre-ordered Strongheart the other day. He could make a push. He could definitely make a push for the top 10 later on at the end of this year. But that's it. That's our top 10. That's my top 10. That's where we're going to go from here. You know what? Part 1 is always the easiest since it's the least amount of figures I have to consider throughout the year. Plus this year there's been so many multiples and teams and teammates and pairs that I had to compromise even less. But like I said, there's still a lot of great stuff ready to hit this year. So we'll see who, if any, of these figures, other than Warduke, has what it takes to make it to the end. Thank you for watching this and all of our videos. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. Make sure you head over to Secret Galaxy and subscribe there if you haven't already. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy and let me know what your current top 10 looks like down in the comments below. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Later.